It's time for a book haul.
Finally, yes, finally now. Finally, something that takes me away. Sorry, it's Jason Robert Brown. Has nothing to do with anything. We are happy to be doing a haul. It's a short haul, I think.
We'll find out.
We'll see. We'll see how short this haul is going to be. So let's get started.
All right, I'm going to start with books that we received from publishers, or I received from publishers. We're going to start with one that I got from HarperCollins, from Balzer and Bray specifically, and this is Among the Beasts and Briars by Ashley Poston. This is a fantasy novel. I've talked about it before, I want to say. I don't remember when, but I'm pretty sure I have. It's about a girl and two animal sidekicks. I want to say there's a fox. One of them is a fox, and they have to go on a journey in order to rescue the people in the castle that she lives in, if I remember correctly.
Cool.
Very much looking forward to checking that out. I got a finished copy thanks to Simon & Schuster. This is Chasing Lucky by Jen Bennett, which I have talked about before. This I am very sure of. Chasing Lucky is a YA contemporary novel about Josie St. Martin and her mother. They return to their family's hometown. Josie's basically just determined to finish senior year, get out, and never come back. Plans are derailed when there is an incident that occurs and her childhood best friend Lucky takes the fall for her. So they sort of rekindle their friendship. It might become something more, and Josie also uncovers some secrets about her family and their history. And it is a very cool slice of life, East Coast, coastal town story, and I really liked it. And then from Bloomsbury, I was super excited to get this in the mail, and I cannot wait to read it. It is The Mask Falling. This is the 4th book in the Bone Season series by Samantha Shannon. So the Bone Season series is sort of a fantasy dystopian sci-fi, I guess, story. It centers around a girl named Paige Mahoney. She is a voyant, a clairvoyant, and in the world that she lives in, voyants are basically hunted down and killed, and they're not allowed to exist. In the first book, you find out that there is something more to the voyant world and the societal structure, and Paige has systematically been trying to dismantle things ever since. I feel like that's the best way to sum up the series. I'm currently rereading the first book right now, and I'm loving it. I forgot how much I love that book, but it is so good, and I cannot wait to see what this new installment will bring.
Awesome.
And last, but certainly not least, from Disney, I have An Arc of Lore by Alexandra Bracken. This is her standalone fantasy novel that is coming out in January 2021. It is about Lore Perseus, who, after her family was murdered during this last Aegon, the Aegon being a competition where 9 gods are punished by being made mortal, and then people can hunt them down and kill them in order to gain immortality and godhood. After her family was murdered during the last Aegon, Laura has decided to step back and not participate in that, except that she's kind of forced to when her childhood friend Castor, who she thought was dead, he suddenly turns up and asks for her help, and then the goddess Athena also shows up and offers her a deal where she can exact vengeance on the person who murdered her family. Very cinematic, very brutal, very well constructed. Love this book. Will highly recommend pre-ordering it.
I'm going to start with Witcher book 2, but technically book 4, because if you want to count the first 2 prequels.
Oh yes, the 2 short story
the 2 short story collections, right? And it's The Time of Contempt. So very soon I will be reading the first couple of books, which will probably be a huge slide down to the entire Witcher series. The Witcher tells the story of Geralt of Rivia, who by trade is a Witcher. They're a bunch of beings, I want to say mutants, basically is what they do. They are taken at a very young age and put through a trial of really just a bunch of chemicals being pumped into their system. And if they survive both that and the terrible, combat training that they get, they can apply their trade as witchers, who are basically slayers of bad things and demons. Basically mercenaries if you wanted to hunt down demonic forces and creatures and monsters and what have you. Which is really cool because The Witcher is grimdark, and they take fairy tales and then put a really cool spin to it. So we're looking forward to that. House of Earth and Blood. That is Sarah J. Maas all the way through. I started reading the book. It was pretty cool, but then on Kindle, there was a sale, and I'm like, I'm grabbing that because I want to. I don't like the thing will give you carpal tunnel just holding it. So and since my wrists are delicate, no, they're not. They're not. I'm just lazy. Also, kind of on sale for a time, and so I bought a couple, and then they weren't on sale, and I thought, you know what, frag it, I'll just collect the whole series. Now I have all of them. I was just missing Brizingr and Eldest. Actually, Eldest was book 2, Brizingr is book 3 of the Inheritance quadrilogy, whatever, which is the Aragon cycle by Christopher Paolini. It's a story of Aragon, right? So very, very old series. He was 19 when he wrote this. I was like 16 or 17. It's just it's been a while.
Anyway, you guys have probably heard about that series.
Yeah, anyway. And so
be excited. We're doing a little project.
We're doing a little project involving Aragon, which is the first in line of this is a land where an evil king and his one dragon like rules everything, and all the dragons are dead, and all the dragon riders are dead.
they?
Or are they? But then one egg manages to magically make its way into some random, you know, small town, and Aragorn decides to go, hey, this is
the one who happens to
and
find
egg
it.
hatches for him, and it's super cool. So that's gonna be awesome.
So excited about that.
I also got Magic the Gathering Legends of Visual History, which is a great way to just take all your favorite Magic the Gathering cards, or maybe not some favorites, but some really famous cards, and sort of like revel in the beauty of that art, and sort of take a trip through history and memory lane about how all of these stories and cards and characters sort of got put together. Very epic, very large scale. There are no small parts here, and even the smallest parts are just bananas. So that was fun, which is a great sort of tandem, because I've been spending money on Magic the Gathering, to say the least. Magic the Gathering comes out for every expansion. They have these little boxes, like they're called bundles or whatever they are. These boxes are like out of, like, they're not being produced anymore, so I managed to splurge a little bit and get the original Ravnica bundles for each of the first 3 Ravnica expansions with the novels of the same name. So this is Ravnica, book 1. Book 2 is Guild Pact, so you've got Teysa Karlov on there right in the front. Those of you who know Teysa, holler at us. And you've got book 3, Dissension. You got Rakdos up on there. Any Circus folk? Any Rakdos fans? Anyway, so these tell the first cycle of Ravnica stories, and they're great. The plot twists are amazing. It centers on this dude, Argus Kros, who is a sort of like a police officer as part of the sort of like Legion, and all the crazy adventures of him unraveling, well, what is really going on in this one city world. So that was fun and awesome, and something that I will 100% read again. They're also on my Kindle, but I wanted to have them in physical, because why not?
Well, I'll continue on with books that I bought. The first is a finished copy of Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. I've talked about this one before. It is about Amelia. Her twin is murdered early on in the book, and so she summons someone, a devil, basically. She thinks that he's at fault for killing her, except that apparently he's not, and now she teams up with him in order to find out who really did it. I make it sound like it's a very light, like I give it a lot of levity, but I just said, but it is not that. It is very atmospheric. It's set in a seaside Italian town. There's a lot of spookiness to it because of the whole, you know, summoning and being around devils and stuff like that. I really enjoyed it. I think it's such an interesting plot, and I'm definitely a big fan of Amelia's character journey in it, so
awesome.
I recommend. The next book is actually something I'm guilty about buying, but also not really. It's the 3rd book in a series where I've only read the 1st book. It is Hullapucks, The Hunt for Morrigan Crow, which is the 3rd book in the Nevermore series by Jessica Townsend. I don't know anything about the plot in this one because I haven't read the 2nd book, so I can't tell you much. 2 mangas. First is a pre-order that I've been waiting for like what feels like forever, and it's the 4th volume of Wotakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku. Love the anime, love the manga. It is essentially about 4 office workers in Japan.
Grown-ass people is what they are.
And they're all secretly otaku in different ways, and I love it. I flipping love it. Cannot wait to read this volume. I enjoy this couple that's on the cover.
It's basically our marriage in another universe.
Yeah. And then we also have a volume 22 of Yona of the Dawn, because we're trying to catch up on collecting these. Again, can't tell you much about the plot because I'm literally,
we don't know anything else about what happened
catch up.
After like the anime ended, so.
And then I got a couple of pretty things. So first is, this is The Lives of Saints by Leigh Bardugo. It is
very pretty.
The book that is mentioned in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. This is actually illustrated, and it's got a bunch of short stories about the different saints. So
is Alina Stark? Is Saint Alina in there?
I think so. Yes.
Ooh, very nice. So it's the updated version.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about
Look
this.
at that foil.
It's a beautiful cover. Also smack myself in the face there. Yeah, it's fine. It's a beautiful cover. I can't wait to read the short stories in it as well. So very excited about that. I ended up picking up the Penguin Clothbound edition of Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I meant to read it in October. I did. I really did. Except that I got distracted reading Rebecca, so I didn't end up reading this. But I really want to. I know the story of Frankenstein in general. I would just like to read the actual story. Looking forward to checking that out. And because I collect the Penguin Drops Caps editions, I got myself the letter D, which is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. So this is the 4th one that I own. Maybe next month you'll see another. One more book. So when I met up with my friend Rachel, we actually managed to go visit Book Culture in Long Island City. And they have this thing where, you know, blind date with a book basically. And this one says, read me if you liked A Darker Shade of Magic, which is by Victoria Schwab, The Magicians by Lev Grossman, Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and American Gods by Neil Gaiman.
Hello.
So I didn't open it then because I was like, I didn't want to know. The cashier was even nice enough to be like, I'm gonna put your receipt somewhere else so you don't see the title of it because it shows apparently on the receipt. And I was like, great, cool.
That's cute.
So I've actually had this for a while.
This is why local bookstores are just like awesome sauce.
You should always support your. Oh my gosh, I've actually wanted to read this book for a while. Okay, this is An Unkindness of Magicians by Kat Howard. It's set in New York. It is basically a magical revenge thriller type story, and it's set like in the influential like sphere of society in New York. So magic, mayhem, New York City. Lots of my favorite things.
Why not?
So I'm very excited. I'm very excited that this is the book that was in there.
Let's bring this out because apparently I am to blame for the Avatar: The Last Airbender
Are you,
fandom
though?
in this house.
I think you are.
I am 100% to blame, and so we have been collecting the library editions
'Cause I love
of
them.
everything Avatar: The Last Airbender universe-wise.
My obsession is
So
high.
I think we're good for the Avatar stories
Yes, you
themselves.
have all of them.
This would be Korra.
Yes, that is the latest one. I really love that cover.
And the fact Kuvira is on here, to me, is just
She
like,
teamed up
she's
with
still
her.
around?
Oh, she is. It's a
that'd be-
Kuvira and Korra story.
I know, and I'm just like, all right, let's see where that goes. And then, of course, Animorphs 1 dropped in October. So
that's right.
that is The Invasion. It is the first book of the Animorphs series in graphic novel format. It is 100% faithful to the entire series and is a little bit updated too, I think. They got
Yeah,
rid
I
of
was
some
actually
plot
wondering
points.
if they're gonna update the rest of the series.
Yeah,
Because
it's
there are definitely some things that other people have brought up in their commentary on the books where it's not great.
Yeah, I think now about it's a little bit more sensitive
That's
to
good. I'm
whatever. Then again, I'm from that era, so some of this stuff I'm just glad that I'm reading it. So we'll see how that pans out. Trials of Apollo book 5 dropped. So Lester Papadolis's
Oh my gosh,
Lester is like that marks the end of his series. I'd like to think it's a 5-book cycle. For those of you who don't know, Trials of Apollo happens in the Percy Jackson universe, centering around the god Apollo, who apparently every so often gets punished by Zeus to live as a human, and he wakes up as a human teenager named Lester Papadopoulos. He can't use any godlike thing to redeem himself, so that's its own thing. Tristan Strong went on sale. Tristan Strong was in the Riordan imprint. I believe it is rooted in sort of local African American culture.
Yes,
I want to say more than anything else, and so happy to grab that. And Dawn of X 8 and 9. Of course. I mean, the fact that Kindle Unlimited is sort of catching up already because it's 3 months ago or not means I've, the minute these Dawn of X collections drop, I actually have read them in individual comics.
And you're just like, this is the collected
version. And when the collected edition drops, I just want to make sure that there's something in there that I haven't read, and apparently they've caught up, so I'm just like, alrighty then. That means I'll get to catch up on the story quicker. So Dawn of X is all about mutants who finally get their own country.
Yeah. I like how that's like the punchline.
That has devolved to just like they finally get their own country and they're now a superpower, like nationally.
Fair.
And nobody can die anymore, and that creates shenanigans. And
that creates shenanigans. That is like the understatement of the century.
Right? And they're so rich, and everybody, and every single X title and concept like Marauders and X Factor and Excalibur get repurposed around this central concept of we're a nation now and everybody's friends and there are no evil mutants anymore, and if there are, we bury them underground. I'm looking at you, Sabretooth. Anyway.
Alright, this section of the haul is basically special editions, when really what it means is there's one book that has 3 different editions in this haul, and there's one that just got a pretty edition. So the book in question that is singular in its edition is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, which I read and talked about. This is the first book in the Scholomance series. And there was a bit of controversy when this came out because of something that Naomi Novik added after she had sensitivity readers go through her work. It's set at a place called the Scholomance, and that is basically a magic school, but unlike other magic schools, there are no teachers. You're basically self-taught, and the school will give you the materials you need to further your education. You also have to contend with all of the evil creatures or things that are in the school that are actively trying to kill you, and also deal with your classmates, who some of them can be a piece of work, obviously.
I just love that concept.
It's a great concept, and overall I thought this was pretty good. This is the Owl Crate Special Edition. As you can see, unlike the regular one, the design on the cover is printed right on the hardcover.
And it's embossed.
A little bit more navy and gold. It's got gold sprayed edges, which is pretty, and then it has a ribbon bookmark down there. And it also came with this exclusive pin that says Mana and Malia, which are two kinds of magic that are referenced in the book.
Nice.
So remember when I said that the rest of this is basically just lots and lots of
Pretty
special editions
versions
of a specific book?
Bring
So
it, bring it, bring it, bring it.
mentioned before that I have read and loved The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This particular edition with the blue sprayed edges and the blue cover is the Forbidden Planet edition, which I pre-ordered some time ago. It has this under the dust jacket, which I really
beautiful
like,
foil
and
right
then it
there.
also has sort of cameo versions of two of our main characters. It is about a girl named Addie. She makes a deal with the devil, and she gains immortality, except that nobody remembers her until 300 years later when she meets Henry in a bookstore, and he somehow does. This is the Illumicrate edition now. It's very similar, except that it's black and silver instead, which I really like, and it's got the black sprayed edges, which I'm like
What is the
obsessed
foil?
with. It has this
Oh,
as the
hey,
foil,
that is gorgeous.
which
Do you
I
see
love,
that? That is
love,
ship baiting at its
love.
finest right there.
And then the inside also has this on the covers.
what?
I'm obsessed with this edition too. I think it is great.
I might need to stay away from this book for my mental health. Or not, we'll
Or
see.
not. That one also came with this pin. It's a stack of books and it has a constellation on it. Last but not least, I didn't actually
Certainly
open
not
this
least.
because I was like, you know what, we're just gonna open it on camera. So I also ordered the Alcrate Addie LaRue box. So we're gonna open it now. It's kind of big and kind of heavy, which, okay, so.
The Alcrate presents the Invisible Life of Addie LaRue box in collaboration with
love-
V. Schwab.
I love this. There's a pin in it, and the pin says, "A story is an idea, wild as a weed."
So let's start
The
with
candle, it's called The Darkness, and the quote that
Yeah,
they
the darkness
use
candle.
is, "He is the darkness she met that night,
feral magic in a lover's form.
Smells like forest.
Light the crackling. Oh, it's a woodwick candle.
Wood smoke and night from Alchemy and Ink. It is. It's a tiny woodwick. Ooh, that smells foresty.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely foresty. This is what it looks like in case you wanted to see the label.
This is a great crate, though. All
Yeah.
right, let's see
All
what
right,
it
I
is.
don't know what's in the box. Oh, it is a wooden ring page holder. Place your thumb within the wooden ring to keep the pages of your book open for easier reading. Cool. It says Once Upon a Time. So this is what it looks like. I've never actually used one of these.
Interesting.
My thumb is a bit tiny though. So we'll see how that goes. Wow, this is pretty, whatever this is.
Well, open it, open it.
I like it. I don't know what it is. Oh, it says The Last Word travel mug. Oh, travel mug. Oh, it really does say the last word.
Well, it's
Books she
pretty.
has found are a way to live 1,000 lives or to find strength in a very long one. I love it. Look at that.
To find strength in a very
This
long one.
is gorgeous. Oh, this is so pretty. Oh, there's a playlist. You can
There's an
scan
Addie
the
LaRue
code.
playlist.
And this also lists the photo challenges for this, which is pretty cool. Ah, notebook. It has coppery edges, which is cool.
Lovely.
And then the cover says, "What a luxury to tell one story to be read and remembered."
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, it wasn't a notebook. It's a
planner.
It's like, so
Like
you
a
guys know how like
day-to-day
there are
journal.
like 5-year journals? This one is a 3-year journal, basically.
Aw.
It's so pretty.
Addie's perpetual wooden calendar.
Oh, I love it already. Watch me put this on my desk, you know.
Oh.
Look how pretty that is.
That is
It's basically
gorgeous.
wooden blocks that you can change the date, you can change the month. Oh my gosh, this is so
That is
stunning.
bloody gorgeous.
This is incredible. I'm so excited.
That is
I should
lovely
keep
as
it
all
in
heck.
there though,
You should
because
totally
there's
keep
no
it in there.
place to put it yet. Oh, we can put it
And it's an
behind us on our
Alcrate.
shelves.
It's an That's true, we can. It's an Alcrate special.
Yeah. And the last thing in the box is obviously the
Certainly
edition
not
of the
the
book.
least.
It's a little plain compared to the other editions I've seen. I think I kind of want to own the regular one too. It has a very minimalist front cover. And then
With the
on
coppery-
the back, it actually says "Never pray to the gods that answer after dark" with this incredibly pretty design. I don't think there's anything else in it. This is what the end papers look like in this one. And then there is a signed tip-in page there. With the ring. Feelings. Lots and lots of feelings. But anyway, this is the Alcrate edition of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So I have, if you were counting, that's the third one I own now. Worth it though, because I love that book. It's probably one of my favorite things I have read in 2020 so far, and I'm still convincing Mackie to read it, because, you know, not that he
There's
needs
time.
much convincing.
There's time.
Anyway, that is the end of this month's book haul, well, October's book haul. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have read or are excited about anything in any of the book hauls, if you loved Abbey LaRue, please let me know. I would love to talk about it.
Let's totally get that thread going.
And I guess we'll see you guys with a new video next week. Bye.